Hello. Today we are going to talk about some paths using the 1.19 blocks. I've got, I think, 8 of them, and then one bonus one. You can kind of see the hint of it down there at the end. We'll get to that one in a minute. So let's talk about what these are. They're all fairly simple to make, and I'll just go over the blocks and what they are and how I use them. So for the main path here, I used the packed mud, brown concrete powder, and the rooted dirt. I just started with the packed mud. I kind of gave it a little bit of a curve. Then I went in with the brown concrete and the rooted dirt and added a little bit of detail. Then as far as the surrounding part of the path, I used some spruce fence, some azalea, not the flowering one, just the regular one. These are the peonies and some tall grass. Um, I also brought in a couple of the flowering azaleas just to kind of accent the pinkishness. And then I took the spruce fence and some flowering azalea leaves that you can get these by growing one of these with some bone meal and then shearing the leaves, and you'll get this block, these leaves. And I just popped those on top of a couple of the fence posts, and there you go. So the tall grass right here, there's actually two ways to get the tall grass um, and the tall ferns, which I actually like to use both of those a little more. You can either take these regular grass and regular fern and bone meal it, and it'll grow into this, or quite often you can find them, well, actually more rarely than often, you can find them in chests in villages. And that's the first one. And here we go. The second one, I started with the mud bricks and the packed mud and dripstone block, and I made more. This is a little bit more of a formal path, but it looks like it's worn because then it's got the bricks and the blocks and then the accent with the dripstone. So for the flowers, these are obviously rose bushes, and then the taller bushes here, the bottom is an azalea and the top is a moss block, and you just stack them on top of each other. Boom, boom, and they match almost perfectly. You can barely tell a difference unless you know exactly where to look, where one ends and the other one begins. So I just took and did every other one, made it like a very formal path. This would be great for like, I don't know, like a castle garden or something like that. So that is the second one. So here is the third one. I decided to make this one look kind of like a country path, on a farm or something, where it has the ruts where the tractors have been going, and then it's a little bit worn. So I took the sides are the mud brick stairs, and the middle is a mud brick, and then the other side is another stair facing the other way. So you've got the ruts facing in this way. Then I took a couple of the packed mud blocks and just made it look a little bit like it's been worn. Um, for accents, I used some hay bales and some dandelions, planted some wheat and let it grow. I planted an oak tree. I planted the oak tree like 6 times till I found one that I liked, because I'm really terrible at making custom trees. Then I added in a little bench. This is just the campfires with a couple of signs on the back, and then again with the tall grass. And that one was it. Nice and fairly simple. You could add in a couple of lanterns if you wanted some light, or just leave it dark and hope for the best. On to the next one. So this one, I imagined it being used really well for a mushroom biome. It is the packed mud, and then the accents with the smooth basalt and the black stone, and it just winds through this. The mycelium blocks here have like that grayish tone, so it works really well. It kind of contrasts, but not too boldly. Then I put a couple of the large mushrooms, and to get these large brown mushrooms and the large red mushrooms, you just take the small red ones or the small brown ones and hit them with some bone meal, and boom, that's what you get. So then I took from there, I added in a couple of the brown and red mushrooms around. Now, one thing you do have to watch is that these red and brown mushrooms, because they're on the mycelium, they will spread, and you'll get them. Oh, actually, they won't grow on the mud. I thought they would grow on the mud as well. I did not know that. Learn something new every day. And then I used something that people kind of tend to overlook. Again, this is the mushroom block just on top of an end rod for like a smaller version of a mushroom, and I did that with the brown ones as well. And then something a little unusual that I think looks really well. These are just dead corals. I used a couple different kinds, a couple of dead coral fans, and just spread them around. They kind of look that same color palette, that same gray color palette that the mushrooms have. I took a couple of the fans and put them on the stems as well, just to give it a little bit of an accent. Those don't normally grow like that on their own. I just put them there because I liked them. Again, this is something you can just have fun with and go crazy. Next, and I hope that I don't have too much background noise. My AC just kicked on and it's kind of noisy. So next we have something that I liked for the warped forest. It is the mud block, gray concrete powder, and cobbled deep slate. So I think that these, because they're kind of cooler colors, work really well with the warped forest kind of feel. So I put down that curved path around this big tree here, the big warped fungus tree. Then I bone mealed the nylium, and you get the short roots, or the sprouts rather, another sprouts, and the warped roots, and some of the twisting vines. Then I took some of the twisting vines and I grew them a little taller and put sea lanterns on top to get a little bit of light. I added a little bit of hard landscaping with the warped fences, and a couple of the warped fences I brought them up and around and put the soul lanterns on them as well. I just like the way that feels. It's got like a nice cool color palette to it. Works really well for the um, warped forest. And if you're building this somewhere and you don't have a tree to build around, these mushrooms right here, a warped fungus, you can plant it, hit it with some bone meal, and it'll grow into one of the various types of warped fungus trees. Sometimes it'll grow into a giant one like this, which is very uncommon. Sometimes they'll grow super tall and they'll be 30, 40, 50 blocks high even. Sometimes they'll be short and fat. They vary a lot, so you'll have to kind of play with that one. Next, I designed this path with the idea of putting it through one of the dark forests. So we've got muddy mangrove roots, mud, and mangrove logs faced on the side. So if you face these down, you get the red. If you face them into another block, you get the bark texture that's here. So I made the path out of those 3 blocks, distributed pretty evenly. Added in some of the dark oak fence in between the dark oak trees. Threw in a couple barrels again with the tall grass and the tall ferns, and then threw in a couple of the poppies just for a little bit of color, and a couple of the mushrooms. Now one thing you've got to watch, this is the one that will spread. So these will spread onto that and that. You'll have to keep cutting them out. You can see this one already spread into the middle of the path. I didn't put that one there. That one just happened to be there. Just grew there naturally. Then I wanted a little campsite, so I threw in a campfire and a little chair over here. Yeah, just because I can. Again, these paths are just an idea. You can take this idea and run with it, do what you will with it, make whatever you want with it, be creative. If you do something with it, tag me in your comments, send it to me, let me see what you make. I'm really curious. I love seeing what other people make with ideas. Next, we have another nether biome. This one is using the netherrack because we all have so much netherrack. If you've been in the nether looking for anything, you end up with 100 times more netherrack than you will ever want or need. Along with the mangrove planks and the stripped mangrove logs. I think this color palette works really well together for a path. As you can see here, I put them again fairly evenly distributed. I went a little bit lighter with the mangrove logs. These are, again, if you face them down, you get the end grain, and if you face them into the plank or the block next to it, you get the side texture. So I just took that, built the path, put the fences down on the side. These are the mangrove fences because I just like the way all the red tones work together. Then I bone mealed all the red nylium around here. I threw in a little bit of soul sand with some of the nether wart. Um, you can always use nether wart, but you never really need a whole lot, so you don't really need to farm. I like to tuck it in little places and just use it as an accent. And then if I want to, I can just come over here and harvest it and grab it and then replant it, and then it'll grow and it'll be there when I need it. And then you've got the red roots and the hanging vines, weeping vines, and then the red fungus, the giant red fungus. These are, that one really generated weirdly, didn't it? Anyway, these are, you can get same way as the blue ones. You just take one of these fungus. It is the crimson fungus. Not the red mushroom, but the crimson fungus. And you put it down, bone meal it, and you get a red fungus tree. And that's that one. Again, you could add some lighting in there. Usually these they generate with, well, that one didn't. They generate with shroom lights up inside of them. So you could put a shroom light, like this one didn't. Oh, I guess it did. Put a shroom light up in there. And that's that one. Let's go on to the next one. So this one again is another formal path. Oh, you can kind of see some particles hinting at what's going on over there. Haha, you want to stick around and see that one. I like that one a lot. So I just took the mangrove planks and put them down, and then I took the stripped mangrove logs and I put some on the end and some on the side. So if you face down, you get the end grain. Face into the next block, you get the side grain. And I made that path nice and straight because this is going to be more of a formal garden path. I used the oak fences on both sides here, and here. I too high, and then I made an arch across the top. In these arches, these are the new frog lights. This is the pearlescent one. It's got the purplish to it. So for the garden part, I used stuff that has a little more purple to it. I used the flowering azalea and the lilac and just made a row on each side of those. Really simple, straightforward, very effective entrance to a really formal garden if that's what you were doing, or you could make it into like a maze shape so people have to find their way through it. I really like these frog lights. I just wish they were easier to get. That's okay though. Then you can show them off. They're more special to show them off when they're harder to get. So now we're gonna go on to that last special one. Are you ready for this? This one's fun. I had so much fun making this one. This one isn't a regular path. This one is a path for a boat to go through the swamp. So I like the new swamps and I like exploring them, but they're kind of hard to navigate. So I decided I would make this one with a boat in mind. However, when I built this example, I made it too narrow. I would definitely build this probably twice as wide as what this is here. But I can still give you an overview of what I have here and how I use them and how I did it. So first, I grew some of these enormous, absolutely monstrous mangrove trees. These things are huge. They're even bigger, way, way bigger than any other tree in the game right now. They're absolutely amazing. And they grow with these big roots like this. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take your boat and sail your boat around underneath the roots? So that's what I did. I grew it. I adjusted some of the roots because some of them, like this one, I think came down right in the middle. So I adjusted it and moved it over a little bit so that way it went around the path. I lined the bottom with mud and I used some of the mangrove roots because they actually will waterlog, as well as, well, that one didn't waterlog. Yes, it did. Okay. As well as using some of the glow lichen, some of the dead coral, and some of the small drip leaf. The only way that I know of that you can get small drip leaf is from the Wandering Trader. Yes, that guy. And then some of the lily pads, I put those around. Remember, with a boat, if you are in a boat and you hit a lily pad, it's going to destroy it. So that's why I said this was actually too narrow, because you could sail through here with the boat, but when you did, you destroyed all the lily pads. So let's put those back. Put a couple lily pads around. So that's why I said I would make this a little bit wider. So then on the sides to decorate it, I put some of the tall drip leaf, different heights, some of the tall ferns, some bamboo, which if this is in the flat world, okay, this is bright green. In the jungle, the mangrove swamp rather, it's more of this color or even darker. It's kind of a brownish green, so it actually fits a lot better. Then I also took some of the glow berries and grew them. If you just put this down, you get the vine. If you hit it with bone meal, then it'll give you the berry on it as well. And then I put a couple of these. We were all very sad to see the fireflies go, but as you can see with the spore blossom, you get the particle effect that kind of looks like the fireflies. Not quite the same, but I think it's better than nothing. The only way to get these are to find a dripstone cave and chop them up, down, whatever you want to call it, with a silk touch tool of any kind. It doesn't really matter what kind of silk touch tool, whatever it is, as long as it's silk touch. I think you can actually even hit it with a silk touch book and mine it that way, and it'll still give you the plant. I'm not sure on that though, so don't quote me. And then just put some vegetation around the vines. Your vines are going to grow like crazy. The best way to stop them is to just put a piece of string underneath. I have everything kind of turned off so it won't grow right now, but they will grow and take over. Oh, there's propagule right there. Look at that. Look at that. And then that's it. I think that is just a lot of fun to just like go through all the routes and explore. Like I said, I wish I would have made this wider. So there you have it. There is all of the paths that I thought I could think of, just some ideas that I thought I would throw out there. Um, if you have any other ideas that you want me to build and make a tutorial on, let me know. If you use any of these ideas, tag me, send me pictures. I love to see what other people do with my ideas. And I guess that's it. Don't forget to leave a like and comment down below. Let me know which one was your favorite. Thanks. Have a great day.